Cardiff Gael, you're very welcome to Brewster Park in Enniskillen here for this Division 1 game between Roslea Shamrocks and Enniskillen Gaels, live on Fermanagh GA TV, coming to you with sponsorship from Monaghan Brothers. So we're very thankful to our sponsors who continue to support us. This is the opening round of the Division 1 Football League. It's slightly different. The 10 teams have been split into two groups of 5. They'll each play each other in a subsidiary competition before one round of league proper fixtures before we go into the championship. Joining me for this game is John McElroy. John, thanks very much for coming out tonight. It's a strange Brewster Park. It's completely empty. There's no supporters allowed.
But there's plenty of wind about it at the same time.
It's definitely, it's cool today, so the players are going to have to keep moving to keep warm in this here. They're starting to take their positions, so if we can quickly go through the teams, we'll start with the home team of Enniskillen Gaels. In goals, it's Cian Newman, a full back line of Jack Tierney, Josh Horn and Neil Love. In the half back line, it's Ryan McDonnell, Kieran Smith and Michael Duris. In the middle of the field, it is Ross Bogan. He's been partnered by Conor Murphy. In the half forward line, Connell Quinn, John Rehill, Neil McDermott, and a full forward line of Ethan Beresford, Callum Jones and James O'Donnell. Referee James Lewis is just doing his final checks. In the meantime, I will have a quick chance to go through Roslea, and that's Daniel Mohan in goals, John Connolly, Niall Cassidy, Conor Sherlock in their full back line, Niall Beggan, Peter Lynch and Micheál Flanagan in a half back line. Middle of the field, it's Conor Mulligan and Niall McMahon. Half forward, Shane McMahon, Niall Cosgrove and Dara Clerkin, and a full forward line of Matthew McMahon, Seamus Quigley and Shane Lynch. That ball's thrown up. Roslea have it. That was Peter Lynch who's given it over to his midfield partner Niall McMahon. Roslea are starting to move Enniskillen are starting to move back because they've only just their inside forward line there. That's Shane McMahon on the far side of the field, giving it to Peter Lynch. He's got a kind of a wall of Enniskillen in front of him, but giving it now to Micheál Flanagan. Gets through that challenge, giving it over here to Conor Mulligan. Roslea have had the ball for the first 20 seconds, and it's only now that they're starting to get into the Enniskillen half with Peter Lynch on that far side of the field, gotten through a couple of challenges. Left footed ball into Shane Lynch, who's trying hard to get that from Neil Love. Ball's on the sideline and Neil Love pushes Shane Lynch off it, picks it up, and now it's with the centre half forward John Rehill, who gives it to the midfielder Conor Murphy. Now Enniskillen are on the attack. There seem to be in this first attack, John, trying to break with a bit of pace.
Yeah, and they're very young and they're well able to break with pace. Strange looking in the Enniskillen team tonight, but you can imagine with all the county players, etc., that's the kind of a team that are going to be fielded for some time.
But then this gives some of these younger players an opportunity to break on
to the
team.
But it's a case then of getting the usual men back on again, and these lads been dropped off then, and questions can be asked then as well.
That was well turned over from Matthew McMahon, intercepted that there, been picked up now by Neil McDermott. He ships a challenge, gives it to Jack Tierney, and now it's going over to Kieran Smith on that in the midfield. He's breaking forward. He's got Niall Cosgrove in front of him, two runners on his far side, gives it over there to the wing half back, who's Ryan McDonnell, going into a bit of challenge, quick hands from Enniskillen, trying to get into the scoring zone. That's their centre half forward, who's John Rehill, gets inside a challenge of his immediate counterpart, but Roslea have him bottled up, and referee James Lewis says that's going to be a free in, moving it for descent, moving it towards just directly in front of the goals. And I thought they were going to take it quick there, John.
Yeah, but he was well tackled there, he was well closed down at that stage, and maybe lucky enough to get a free.
I would say Roslea would be a bit disappointed with that there, because they had got around Enniskillen there. But however, free taken by Callum Jones, getting it over the bar, and that's the first point of the game for Enniskillen, gets them off the score. Great one for a free taker right in front of the goals to get
good start,
settled down, and it is the start of the league as well. So So for any of you joining in here, we are having difficulties with our internet, but we're going to try and get that sorted out. And as that ball comes from Callum Jones again on the left foot, swinging that over nicely.
Another excellent point there.
That was from play, John. His confidence is up now.
Yeah.
So as I said, internet is giving us a bit of difficulty, but we're going to persevere and hopefully we'll get that sorted out. This is going to be a kick out coming from Daniel Mohan. He's had 2 kick outs inside a minute, going long this time to midfield. That's between Kieran Smith and Niall Cosgrove. Kieran Smith got in front of Niall Cosgrove, palmed it down. Breaking ball seemed to be picked up by Shane McMahon. He's down on the ground. Referee James Lewis has blown his whistle. Probably going to be a free to Enniskillen.
That's what he pointed originally at. Enniskillen man holding on to the ball there.
And he's talking. No, he's not talking to anyone, but anyway, it's going to be a free for Enniskillen just on the 65 metre line. It's in the hands of Kieran Smith. Just a word maybe, John, about the setup. Roslea are playing with a two-man inside forward line of Seamus Quigley and Shane Lynch. Their other players have been sucked back. That's left plenty of space between their own 45 really and the full forward line. The difficulty is always to fill that space and to move from defence to attack.
Yeah, it is of course. Well, I suppose they've done plenty of training on their own individually, for suppose during the year, because they'll be fed up and wanting to get back into this game. So I can't see anybody standing back tonight and looking for assistance from the sideline or anything. They'll be all full go.
Roslea again were able to, that was number 13, who's Ethan Beresford. Roslea were able to bottle him up, got the ball turned over, and now the kick out's going to be, or the free kick's going to be taken by Daniel Mohan, taking it forward to the 45 metre line. And here we go with Roslea trying to break out, gives it to Micheál Flanagan with a bit of space. Conor Mulligan in support, doesn't give him the pass, gives it over to Dara Clerkin here now, who tries it to Conor Mulligan. Intricate hands, that just broke down. There was space for it to go, John. I suppose the first game of the year, maybe Hanlon just isn't.
Yeah, the Hanlon, he just dropped it at his knees and he dropped it short and he lost possession. So Enniskillen in the attack now up the far side of John Rehill, like it is.
John Rehill in the 45 metre line, giving it back here to Michael Duras. Now Enniskillen are starting to move forward. That's the first time ball inside. Callum Jones gets that in front of Niall Castian, gives it to James O'Donnell. Fast hands again, and it's over to the far side of the field to Michael Duras, who's giving it back here, spoons it back to Neil McDermott, trying to turn on to the right foot, I think. But Roslea again have plenty of numbers back there. Right hand pass to John Rehill, intricate ball over here to Neil McDermott, gets away from him, trying to keep it in, and the umpires blow that as well. Callum Jones got that ball in front of Niall Cassie. It was a well directed ball from John Rehill, I possibly think.
Yeah, so it was, yeah.
But nothing come of it at that instant. It probably goes to show you the danger with the Enniskillen forward line. They do have some good players. We seen them last year winning the intermediate championship. They racked up a massive score against Maguire's Bridge. And here
Niall Castian been riding long enough till swing way up the which foot Colin Jones.
He's going to want to kick it from. He's looking it for the left foot all the time. That's Micheál Flanagan shipping a challenge, gives it over here to Conor Mulligan. Now we have Roslea in attack. Seamus Quigley's looking for the ball long. Conor Mulligan delivers that nicely. It's going to land just on the edge of the square. That's a ball in there between Josh Horn and Seamus Quigley, and Josh Horn seems to have won the initial.
Seamus was out in front, you had no problem winning that, but you're standing behind, and it's not that often that it happens for you to break over the top. You're out in front of you, certainly would have had a possession and a score.
And away we go again. Here's goalkeeper Cian Newman. So Josh Horn, I'm sure, will be happy to win that initial ball, the first ball that comes in between himself and Seamus Quigley. A bit of confidence for himself. Kieran Smith breaking on this stand side of the field. He's got Matthew McMahon in front of him, but he releases Neil McDermott. He gets inside the 45 metre line. And it's killing a lot of players in there, a lot of free players in there. That was Jack Tierney giving it back here to James O'Donnell, who's found space to pass it to Conor Murphy in the middle of the field, trying a left-footed ball that was caught and taken the mark. That was Ethan Beresford who caught that there.
Yeah, but Roslea are dropping back to equal to Enniskillen. They're just playing two forwards up here now, and they're getting back quickly too. But I have a notion they're going to have to get back fairly quickly because Enniskillen are sharp.
They're finding spaces for all the Roslea players to be back there. Enniskillen are still finding spaces. That shot from Ethan Beresford come off the post. It rolled along the end line. And it's been picked up by Niall Cosgrove. And here we go with Roslea looking to break out. Niall Cosgrove goes to ground, gets his free kick. He has to turn back. He was looking back for support there, gives it to Peter Lynch on the far side of the field, and referee James Lewis blows his whistle. He's going to be a Roslea free again. He seems to be wanting to move that forward because he wants to talk to someone, just taking a note of someone. So someone's got the tick, as they used to talk about. Daniel Mohan has that, giving it to Niall Cosgrove on the 65 metre line, who has Niall McMahon in support. Two players coming with him. That's Micheál Flanagan giving it over here to Niall McMahon and Peter Lynch on that far side of the field. As Flanagan breaking forward on the 21 metre line, right-footed shot over the bar. That's Roslea's first point from play. I was just about to say, John, Roslea are moving forward in a kind of there's a group of players moving forward. I wouldn't say that they're moving in a bunch, but they are trying to move with 3-4 men into an attack. I suppose the problem with that there is if that gets stopped, you have a quarter, or you have a third of your team committed to one part of the field.
Yeah, and I'm sure Shamie wouldn't be too enamoured that the ball not coming in quicker to him at the same time.
Scoreline now reads 2 points to Enniskillen, 1 point to Roslea. That ball to Matthew McMahon has been cut out by Jack Tierney, who's gotten the ball quite a lot and going forward as well. John, giving it here to Callum Jones, who's fighting against Niall Casty. He wants that on the left foot, gets that shot going away, and I think that's going to go over the bar. That was a marvellous score.
I'm surprised that Callum Jones didn't take the last free there that came off the post.
It was a mark.
Oh, it was a mark.
It was a mark, so it had to be taken by
the rusty at this time of the year, you know, Cian, so
we'll have to get a copy of the rule book just to clear up some of these things. Kick out coming here from Daniel Mohan, and he's going to go. Roslea have gone mixed it up between short and long. That's going to the far side of the field. It's a pace race between Conor Mulligan and Ross Bogue. It's on that far side of the field. Mulligan's gone to ground, 2 Enniskillen players around him, and referee James Lewis gives the free to Enniskillen. A bit maybe like Roslea there. Enniskillen had 2 men around Conor Mulligan, and they might feel a wee bit aggrieved. It seemed to be much the same of a challenge, but arguably then James Lewis is making those calls, and he's consistent. He's made them consistent for both teams. Shane Lynch taking that ball before it bounces, spins around, looking for the first time ball into Seamus Quigley, gives it into space. Shamie trying to get around Josh Horn. He's got that back, going to go for the goal. You could see it coming, John. Rifles that to the back of the net, and that's Seamus Quigley opening his account. It's now 1-1 to Roslea, 3 points to Enniskillen.
The minute he got past the marker, he let whack, and there goes a typical Seamus Quigley goal.
I think Seamus Quigley got around Joshua, and he was able to go towards the D, the centre of the goals, which gives you more angle to aim at. But it was probably the ball from Shane Lynch that gives Seamus Quigley the room
to draw the back in it,
to draw Josh Horn out there and then get around him. So that's the first goal of the game. Enniskillen on the attack here now. That ball's going in, probably going to go wide. Brings the scoreline 1-1 to 3 points. Goals, John, are so important in any game.
I don't think we'll see many better finishes than that, no matter what season it is.
Daniel Mohan with the kick out here, giving this over to Matthew McMahon, takes that well in midfield. He had John Connolly coming past him.
Come off.
And referee James Lewis says it was too long. There no doubt is a rule which that the free has to be taken quickly, because it wasn't a free kick, it's just a mark. So James Lewis said that was over carrying, gives it now, it's been turned over, and that's John Rehill. I thought he had the first time shot, turning back away from goal, giving it to his midfield collar Conor Murphy. That ball's going to go wide, and it's going to be kick out again.
John Rehill hadn't much to shoot at there now.
He was heading away from goal.
He had it because he had that many Roslea jerseys in front of him that he just had to turn back.
So that is with 11 minutes played. That's Daniel Mohan. Roslea are starting to do well in their own kickouts. 11 and a half minutes played in this first half. Now it's Micheál Flanagan. I think he overcarried that there, maybe twice. Gives it now to Niall Beggan and gets it back again. He is being tackled by Kieran Smith. Referee James Lewis says there was a foul. It was Ross Bogue indeed who was fouling Micheál Flanagan there. Now it's back here with Conor Mulligan. Gives it to Niall Cosgrove. Seamus Quigley going out for the run, but too far away. That's Shane McMahon giving it to John Connolly here now. Roslea now have all of their players in attack, and only Enniskillen with all their players into their own half of the field. That's Shane Lynch taking that ball on his knees, spins it up again. He's got Neil Lowe for company, giving him plenty of trouble. Lynch is going to kick that into the far side of the field, going to drop short. Seamus Quigley breaks it down, and that is picked up now by Ross Bogue, who's going for Roslea. We're calling for a free that was picked up off the ground. Don't think it was. Onto the far side of the field now, and that is into the hands of Conor Murphy, getting inside the Roslea half of the field. He's breaking forward. Roslea have a lot of players back now, so it closes up the space.
Well, they've been doing that now for several years.
slows the play down,
Yeah.
and it means that Enniskillen have to pick out perfect passes. That has found James O'Donnell, who's in a bit of space here now with Conor Mulligan, kicking it back out to Neil McDermott. He's going to try the left-footed ball into Callum Jones, but John Connolly picks that out, gives it over here now to Shane McMahon, and this is the time that Roslea need to get from their defence into the attack, because John Connolly snuffed that ball out well. Enniskillen were trying to, they have been trying to find their men and possibly take advantage of the marks.
John Connolly read that situation very well, so he did. First to the ball as well.
Picked up now, and it's their goalkeeper Daniel Mohan, who's going out to give his half-back line a bit of support. He has Peter Lynch beside him, Niall Beggan making a run, gives it over to Shane McMahon. Roslea not short of options. It's probably just to get the ball, to be able to give the ball to someone who's moving. As Shane McMahon continuing on his run, he has two players, gets inside that challenge, goes to ground. Referee James Lewis says play away. McMahon got the ball away, and that is now Micheál Flanagan who's burrowing through. Referee James Lewis says that's going to be a free. Two Enniskillen players weren't allowing him to get up, and that's going to be a free in for Roslea, which I would think Seamus Quigley is going to come out to take. And with 15 minutes gone in the first half, we're going to have a free. But at the edge of the D, it's going. If he's going to take it out of his hand, I would imagine that's where he's going to end up, kicking it anyway.
I'd say it's a sure enough score now.
Couple of Shane McMahon's down, getting support there. Shane McMahon had went to ground, didn't get his free. Done well to get the ball away, because generally when you get 2 and 3 players around you, you haven't room to get it away. That Seamus quickly kicking that ball in straight over the bar, and it is now 1-2 to Roslea, which is 5 points, and 3 points to Enniskillen. Soon we're going to have our first water break, and that'll be the end of the first quarter. Goalkeeper Cian Newman going long. It's between John Rehill and Peter Lynch. Rehill catches that ball well, goes to ground. Referee James Lewis says move it forward, and it's going to be John Rehill, a 3-man Enniskillen forward line. Rehill's going slightly too forward for James Lewis. It's like Lewis says go back. That's Niall Cosgrove fighting hard with Ross Bogue. Bogue picks it up, gives it over here now to Kieran Smith, who has support on that far side of the field. And Enniskillen, they've kind of 4 players on this side, or towards the stand side, John, who are maybe could move. If they were to move forward, they would give themselves another focal point for the attack.
A good diagonal ball could be useful there as well.
Maybe the problem with not getting inside is you allow Roslea time to get back. That being said, that was a lovely ball in there to Neil McDermott, who takes that midway between the 21 and the 45 metre line. This is a mark. He's going to take this left footed, going in high. That's going to go wide. That's wide. Another wide for Enniskillen, gives Daniel Mohan a chance to get his kick out. He's ready to take this quick, but referee James Lewis says water break. So that's the end of our first quarter, John. Your initial reactions this year. We have to taper everything by this is the first round of the league. Players are going to be a bit rusty. It's a starred game as well, so we don't have the senior players, but as we said, that gives younger players an opportunity to show themselves lively enough in the
fine
15
game,
minutes.
fine first 15 minutes. Look at, we had a couple of nice scores in it. One to Roslea, Jimmy's goal obviously, and up front here with Callum Jones and what have you. It's a grand game, the first game of the season, and so many changes, and well, especially in Enniskillen.
You are watching this game live on Fermanagh GAA TV, and thanks to our sponsors Monaghan Brothers for their continued support. Probably worthwhile at this time mentioning a message that came out from the GAA at about 5 o'clock this afternoon. Normally Friday evening 5 o'clock is for bad news, but this was good news from the GAA. They're announcing from after Monday the 24th of May some changes. Maximum of 500 spectators at games, so this is obviously from Monday onwards. Regarding county, the GAA, Ulster GAA are going to issue advice as to how that is to be managed at these games with a maximum of 500 spectators. Face coverings are still encouraged, dressing rooms are still closed, and as I said, the guidance will be issued regarding inter-county games from next weekend. As well as that, 3 other points that social clubs can open, gyms and sports hall can also open as well, and drive-in cinemas and outdoor bingos allowed. So getting back to a bit of John, the full programme of GA activities.
Oh, it's getting that way. Well, 500 will not affect too many club games for us.
That was kicked in from Shane McMahon, just had in the legs, and that's goalkeeper Cian Newman who takes that in. That ball's a bit short. It's Ryan McDonald who has it, gives it over here now, and it's Conor Murphy. Enniskillen quickly breaking out of attack, and it's into their centre half forward James Real, who has been on the ball quite a lot, looking to kick that ball in quickly to Ethan Beresford. Goes to ground. John Connolly gets him. Referee James Lewis has, after judging that John Connolly pushed Ethan Beresford.
The switch of play to this here side open up the whole thing at this stage, you know.
It was the switch from John Rehill which found Ethan Beresford in a lot of space. One thing we definitely can say, John, in the opening quarter, the Enniskillen forwards have had a lot of space in the Roslea defence, and they are trying to pinpoint those passes from the 45 in to sort of get over any blanket defence that Roslea might look to take in. That's John Rehill kicking that ball nicely over the bar. That's another point. 1-2 to Roslea, 4 points for Enniskillen.
At the same time, Kieran, the Enniskillen forwards are all moving very off the ball as well, and you know, they're to stretch any defence there at the minute.
They are there, and in Enniskillen as well, with the wide open spaces, they're well used to this here. That was goalkeeper Daniel Mohan taking that kick. Referee James Lewis spotted it. There was players inside the 21 metre line. We've seen that last week with the county games. County goalkeepers were struggling to get that there. The referees have obviously been studying hard at these rules, because the referee last week was Martin McNally in the Fermanagh Cavan game, and he pulled Cavan 3 if not 4 times for that there. James Lewis indicates that it's going to be another free. Hasn't put his hand. It's going to be an Enniskillen free by the looks of it. I think, it is going to be an Enniskillen free, which James Rehill's going to take. Simple free, taps that over the bar, and now the scoreline reads 5 points to Enniskillen, 2 to Roslea. Enniskillen have at least 3 points from frees. Callum Jones hit one. John Rehill is after hitting 2 in a row there. So Enniskillen dependent on some of these free. They've been nicely in front of the goal as well, which gives.
They're getting into good positions. The forwards are getting into good positions. Plenty of movement in them. So you can. We're not Enniskillen not winning the pile around the middle of the field there and
not, and just as you say that's Niall McMahon who wins that ball. Lewis initially had indicated the wrong way, corrects it very quickly, and now that's Roslea on the attack, breaking inside the 65 metre line. Niall begging, looks to give that to Seamus quickly, going to go over the head, and it's possibly going to end up going wide.
The tensions were good down there, but another good diagonal ball across, you know.
It was one of those ones. So John, they talk about one bounce in front, whereas that ball just maybe had a wee bit too much on it, but we talked about it again, the first games of the year, players have to just get to improve their
I'd rather see Shimmy making his runs out to the far corner, believe it or not, because when he comes in on his right foot then he's on the ball,
winning that there, he would have had to either kick it from the sideline and try to bend it back in, or else turn around to the left foot.
I'd rather see him in the far corner now.
Goalkeeper Cian Newman, that's well broken down by Conor Mulligan, was picked up by Dara Clark, and as you said again, John, Roslea have had a lot of the ball around midfield, and certainly most of the breaking ball. They've won most of their own kickouts, and that's one turned over from Enniskillen. Here's Shane McMahon giving it to Peter Lynch, trying to break inside the 45 metre line. Roslea they're stuck sort of between the 65 and the 45. Seamus Quigley's going to take that on the 45. It's going to land in. Shane Lynch is in there trying to catch it.
That's for Seamus should be in there. Would he get the ball in eventually to him, someone there?
He wasn't able to draw that ball back in.
It's in good looking shape, isn't it? Yes,
I suppose a lot of the players have had 4 to 5 months to prepare for some of these games, to prepare for the championship. A lot of it had to be done individually, which creates its own, which would create its own difficulties.
Another bit of work for Shimmy then, and it'll be a night run.
Away we go again now, and that ball was turned over now. It's Roslea on the breakout with Micheál Flanagan. He has Niall Cosgrave in support. Shane McMahon giving him a run as well. That ball went behind. John Connie's going to try and pick it up, but it's not easy to have to bend your back in that there. Connie, the ball skids away from him. He has it back up again now, giving it to Conor Mulligan. Roslea need to get this ball moving quickly because Enniskillen just had quite a lot of them covered. That's Micheál Flanagan skipping away from James Rehill, but he hasn't anyone to move forward to now. They're going to have to go back to the goalkeeper Daniel Mohan.
Just to change the play now, isn't it?
He's going to go to the far side of the field. Breaking outside his own 65-metre line. He's going to deliver it straight away to Quigley. That ball's going in high, pushed in the back, tripped from behind, and referee James Lewis says it's going to be a free in. He had blown the whistle. Maybe Shane Lynch finished that ball to the net, but James Lewis had definitely blown the whistle. It's in the middle of the D, and it's going to be a free in for Roslea. Another opportunity for them to get a score, which I'm sure Seamus Quigley is going to take. Just if we could talk about that period of play there, Roslea kind of were caught in between their own 45, say, and 65. Enniskillen, as it goes on to maybe championship, those are great opportunities to turn someone over.
They're good, they are, but the way that Danny Bone's playing there and coming out, they knew that he was always available at the worst of times to put the ball back to him, you know.
Well, it gives you 7 defenders
against
6 forwards.
Young Flanagan there too now, he's going well.
That's over the bar.
I don't think he was under that much pressure at any time. He knew exactly what he was doing. Like.
That's gone over the bar now, and it's 1-3 to Roslea, 5 points to Enniskillen, and his goalkeeper Cian Newman going to take this. Again with Enniskillen, the mixture of short and long. They have struggled sometimes it's gone out long, as Roslea have been able to secure the breaking ball. We'll see how this one goes. He found Conor Murphy well. Kind of slipped through his hands, and Roslea have turned that over.
Should have been taking that there now.
Possibly that must be 2 turnover to 2 Enniskillen kickouts that Roslea have won. That's Peter Lynch trying to give it into Shane Lynch, broken down well from Neil Love, didn't allow him to win it cleanly, and now Enniskillen are on the attack. A couple of other scores that are coming through to us in Division 1B. A scoreline that we have is Erin Gaels 1-4, Ballinalec 1 point. So Erin Gaels, after last year been relegated to Intermediate Championship, they're certainly starting off well in that game. In Division 2, it's with 15 minutes played, it's Derry Lynn 4 points, Newtown Butler 1 point, sort of at the water break situation. Other scores we will update you as they come along. And away we go again with we have 24 minutes played in this first half. It's Daniel Mohan breaking out here. 1-3 the scoreline to 5 points. Micheál Flanagan has that. He has support over there from Peter Lynch, but he's holding on to it, gives it to John Connolly trying to break forward. He's looking for someone, has Conor Mulligan in support. Mulligan now has been hassled by Callum Jones, gives a nice ball to John Connolly, and Roslea have a chance to get forward. That was Ryan McDonald. I would say Ryan McDonald might feel a bit aggrieved there because he was able to use his body to stop John Connolly from going forward. It
was always fouling up sort of the hand pretty high at that stage, you know.
Going to be a free in for Roslea, which is going to be taken 50 metres out.
That'll be. Get us over the bar now with some effort.
One thing, John, I don't think the breeze is just as bad as it was when we were setting up here.
I don't think it is, but it's still coming sort of from that direction now. It's sort of. He's all to do now. It'll be just good to see what happens here.
He is about 5 metres to the right hand side of the post, gets a good strike. That's not going to bend back in. Shane Lynch got a fist to it, but I think it's going to be taken again. I think it is. Just
somebody that raised hands there, and I think that's what the referee's signalling.
James Lewis, and he was indicating from what I could hear maybe number 12. So that's going to be take 2. It's going to be from the edge of the D. In fact, he's going to take this out of his hands. So another chance for Shimmy quickly to take this free on the edge of the D, right-footed, lining up to take this shot, and that's over the bar. Very even, John. Really. Just looking at the scoreboard, 5 points to 1-4.
Yeah.
And here is goalkeeper Cian Newman. Enniskillen have lost 2 of their last kickouts, so I would think they're really going to have to try to get this. When you go into that far side of the field again, and that is Neil McDermott. He picks that ball up well, one-handed as the ball is bouncing away from him, and Enniskillen have it turned over here now into the hands of Neil Love, gives it to his full-back who's Josh Horn. They have fast hands in their defence as well as the attack, John, to keep the ball moving.
they're still not looking round them enough at the same time coming out there, because well, here we have a better chance this time.
As Callum
Good
Jones
possession,
bounces
good
in one in front of
possession.
him, he goes to ground, and referee James Lewis is
Yeah.
blowing that as a free in.
Yeah.
I would.
Look at.
It was a bit. It was probably a bit harsh on the Roslea defence, but it's going to be a free now for John Rehill. He has kicked 2 points in this first half, lining this one up on the right foot, but 5 to 10 metres inside the 45-metre line. On the right side, gives it plenty of height, looking good.
Wide.
It was tailed away wide. It certainly looked well as it left his foot.
Look at, you can't really blame Niall Casty there, because Callum Jones has had the years on him there. He's a young lad, and Niall has been through the wars many times, so you can't just say it's his fault all the time, you know.
Well,
put a bit more pressure on the ball out here, there would be, you know.
Well, I think from it, James Lewis seemed to be indicating that it was a push on Callum Jones, and that's why it happened. But anyway,
Niall was never going to get alongside him even at that stage. You know, the pace is there, and that's it.
So inside the 45-metre line, that was Niall Cosgrove, who goes to ground about 4 to 5 metres inside the 45-metre line on this far side of the field. This will suit the right-footed kick from Seamus Quigley. I would imagine as this would be off the ground again. He'll be trying this one from off the ground. Just a quick check of the watch, 27.5 minutes played in the first half. He's going to take it out of the hands.
You were talking about there in Gaels Ballinalack game there. Ballinalack would be suffering a lot from county players being involved, you know, while there in Gaels wouldn't, but at the same time, so that's not a very surprising score at this stage now, but they're going to do different before the end.
Well, for that shot from Seamus Quigley's gone over the bar. That's another point. Now the score line, a goal, but the goal from Seamus Quigley between the teams, and it's 1-5 to 5 points. Goalkeeper Cian Newman going to take this ball quick, giving it over here between Peter Lynch and James Rehill. Catches that ball, lovely, plays away, gives it to Conall Quinn, who was trying to find Callum Jones, but Niall Casty has that snuffed out this time. Has Micheál Flanagan there in support, giving it here to Conor Mulligan. Flanagan's back with him. Mulligan's coming inside this stand side of the field. No one immediately from Enniskillen come to Conor Mulligan there, and he was able to get back. That ball was heart attack stuff for a minute for Niall Casty as his hand pass was intercepted, but he picked it up again, moves it on. Now it's Conor Sherlock breaking outside his own 65-metre line, going to deliver the ball long. It's going to edge around the 21-metre line. That's between Niall Cosgrove and Shane Lynch. Referee James Lewis said that there was a bit of holding going on. I think Roslea would have rather to give them a couple of seconds of advantage.
Yeah. Well, Niall Cosgrove, fair play, got it well broken down to Shimmy there now. It wasn't a very easy ball.
Down to Shane Lynch. It was
Shane Lynch, was it?
It was broken down to, but referee James Lewis judged that there was fouling going on, and it's going to be a free in again, which I'm sure Seamus Quigley's going to take. Going to finish on the 14-metre line in front of the goals. You would imagine that this will go over the bar, bit of a formality, and there he goes. So, scoreline now reads with 29.5 minutes played in the first half. 1-6 to Roslea, 5 points to Enniskillen Gaels, and we're approaching the end of this first half. It's goalkeeper Cian Newman. Roslea are trying to push up on the Enniskillen kick out here. They seem to, I think they can sense that Enniskillen are under a bit of pressure.
Enniskillen want to be winning this kick out now.
It was Niall Cosgrove who turns it over now, and Roslea have about 4 or 5 men going forward. That's Micheál Flanagan, gets a good ball away to Shane McMahon. The ball went behind him, but he scoops it over his head now. It's Shane Lynch who gets in there, gets it picked up on the left foot. He has got support here, has to go back to Seamus Quigley, picks the ball off his toe. Niall Casty on the 45-metre line, and he gives it back to Seamus Quigley. He's going to try it from this stand side of the field. That ball is going to go in. That's going in. That's a marvellous score.
Marvellous score.
Whatever bit of a crowd we have gathered here, be the extended supporters, they enjoyed that one, John.
Here now, he hasn't missed too much yet now.
1-7 to 5 points.
I think Enniskillen desperately need a midfield ball here now.
They do, and just I think referee James Lewis seems to be calling for the end of the first half. But when that kick out was happening, John, you could see some of the more experienced Roslea players were talking to the younger ones around them, telling them to push forward, because they could nearly sense that this was going to be an opportunity to turn over the kick out and to get a score from it. And I suppose that's the most important thing when you do make those turnovers, is to punish them by getting scores.
I'd say, if looking at the scoreboard and seeing for Roslea are in front. They should be very happy with the play, the general play. Even at the back here, they're closing down very quickly, coming out of it. No, they're going well at the minute now.
So, half-time score here in Brewster Park in Enniskillen. It is 1-7 to Roslea, 5 points to Enniskillen. Gives us a chance to go around some of the other games that's taken place tonight. In Division 1, it is Derrygonley 10 points, Irvinstown 5. Update from the game between Gaels and Banalek. Banalek have pulled another point back, and now it reads 1-4 to 2 points, and those are the scores as we have them at half time. So, opening half of football, John, the first thing I suppose we'll say is we're glad to be back and glad to be able to watch these games.
And a lovely evening too, despite the chilly wind, but it's a lovely evening for it. A good game. It was a good enough game of football. Good game of football. And so some of the scores are lovely, especially from Shammy there too. But
for the first game of the league, where you have to factor in rustiness, and
even outside of the Roslea individuals that I would know well enough, young Flanagan seems to be sticking out there a bit, you know. I don't know. It's a grand evening's entertainment now.
So with that, we take a break and we'll be back with the second half on Fermanagh GAA TV. And with one final message for our viewers, we are going to try to deal with these IT issues. So if there is any disruption in the broadcast, please bear with us, and hopefully we'll be ready for the second half. And Akarja, you're welcome back to this second half of the Division 1 Senior Football League game between Enniskillen and Roslea. Hopefully we'll have our issues with broadband fixed and you're going to see this second half uninterrupted and live on Fermanagh GAA TV, with thanks to our sponsors and our supporters in Monaghan Brothers. Referee James Lewis getting ready to getting ready to throw the ball in for the second half. There is a change in the Enniskillen team. Number 18, Connor Watson, has come on to replace Ryan McDonald. So that is Connor Watson, who's even gone into the half forward line. That's a well caught from James Rehill, catching that ball, picking it up again, breaking forward inside the Roslea half of the field, and that ball went into Ethan Beresford, gets away from John Conley on the left foot, trying to get the first score of this second half. Didn't just go to hand, but that was a promising move, John. At half time we were talking to ourselves off camera that Enniskillen will look to target to get the first score of the second half.
Yeah, and near enough, should have been getting that on there now. He called it good enough shot and all, but seemed to pull at the last minute.
Maybe just a bit of the rustiness.
They needed that one now.
So away we go again with the scoreline still at 1-7 to Roslea, 5 points to Enniskillen Gaels. Daniel Mohan trying to float this ball here, and it's Shane McMahon up against that was Watson who got that ball. Now it's into Ethan Beresford, and over here to Callum Jones, another sub going forward. That's on the left foot going in. That's wide again. Enniskillen have missed a couple of they've missed a couple of chances, Joan.
That would have helped the scoreboard, those two scores there, but unfortunately they were too wide for Enniskillen.
So the players who
general play coming up there was grand, like.
Just the execution.
Yeah.
Daniel Mohan again lining up this kick out, and it's going to be taken from the 21 metre line. I noticed that he was the managers have an opportunity to speak to their players and to the defenders especially, and say for the love of Meg, please get out of the D when the kick out's coming. That was kicked out to Niall Cosgrove, wins that ball, takes the mark, and now he's breaking forward. He's leading Michael Durst in a run, gives it over to Peter Lynch, and the forward momentum has certainly been taken out of the Roslea attack, but now Daniel Mohan, that's the advantage of having that 7th defender.
You just want to be careful in here now.
All until it stopped. Peter Lynch putting he's trying to move the ball forward. That was number 12, who is Dara Clerkin. Ball was kicked off as it was a foot in, going to be a free for Roslea on their own 65 metre line. This is Peter Lynch looking to take this. He seems as if he's going to have to go long to Seamus Quigley, who's got a good run against Josh Horan. Horan picks that ball up at the second time of asking. Bit like the first half, Josh Horan won the initial one against Seamus Quigley.
It's an important ball to win there because there's a lot of room inside. And
it would have been 2v1 for Roslea. Now this is Ross Bogue moving forward, floating that ball in. It's in between goalkeeper and Callum Jones, and goalkeeper Daniel Mohan was just able to shepherd that ball out of play, and that was gone for another wide. Not keeping track of this here, but Enniskillen must be getting to 7 or 8 wides, 3 at least in this second half. Another kick out for Daniel Mohan. In the first half we were remarking, John, how Roslea were doing quite well in the Enniskillen kick out. In this second half, it's only a couple of minutes old, but Enniskillen are doing quite well in the Roslea kick out. And to underpin that was another shot from Callum Jones which went wide, but Roslea have not been able to get the ball, get a good move forward, and get any possession in the Enniskillen half of the field.
Well, they haven't really won much possession in that half so far, but there's Enniskillen now on 4th wide or 3rd wide from half time, and
3.5 approaching 3.5 minutes played. Daniel Mohan's going to go long again. This is between Conor Mulligan, and that was well caught from Ross Bogue, who did have a good first half. Referee James Lewis just taking him back, giving it over there to his colleague from the half forward line, who's Neil McDermott. That's a low ball into Callum Jones. Niall Cassidy, Tigers leaning around him. Jones picks the ball up nicely, gives it over here to Michael Durst, looking to try to get space to get the shot. Referee James Lewis was playing advantage, no advantage accruing, so it's going to be a free for Enniskillen just on the edge of the D. That's going to give an opportunity for John Rehill, who was taking those frees in the first half. And I would say that the breeze seems to be blowing with Enniskillen as well. Just when you look at the flags, they seem to be blowing down, and they're going to give Enniskillen that wee bit more carry in the ball. So here we go with John Rehill chipping that ball over the bar, and Enniskillen have their account opened in the second half. 6 points, plays 1-7, and a second half which is 4.5 minutes old, John. But Enniskillen have really lorded it in this in this quarter so far, anyway.
Yeah. By the possession they had, maybe not on the scoreboard, it's not showing, but they've a lot of possession. And you get Niall Koskov going here,
breaking that ball down nicely to Niall Beggan. And you were just talking about possession, John. It's possession and momentum and pressure, because when the team can turn over someone's kick-outs, you put the defending team under pressure immediately, and that pressure eventually will toll. So every team has these purple patches in the game, and it's about how you weather it. Now that was a ball from Niall Cassidy releasing John Connolly. He has got Ethan Beresford herring after and gives it to Seamus Quigley, probably going to try it on the right foot. He's kicked that in, I didn't even think he'd look. It was a marvellous score.
Excellent.
Yeah,
the man that set that up was Niall Cassidy, and he was looking around him. Too much going on up the right hand side, and he pulled it over here to the left, opened up the space for which he went
into this stand side of the field. John Connolly carried it from his 65 up to Seamus Quigley. Didn't even take a look. It just goes to show you when things are going well for you, and when your confidence is high, and you do have that talent and ability. James Quigley certainly treated us to two fantastic scores in this game. Now away we go to kick out, and it's that was Ross Bowe giving it over to James Rehill, who has all the time in the world to pick that up and give it to Neil McDermott. Now as Enniskillen break inside the Roslea 45 metre line, that's Jack Tierney on the far side of the field, giving it to Michael Duras, gets around the challenge, kicks it or passes it over here to James Rehill. He wanted that in the right, gives it in the left foot. It's a ball in there between full forward Callum Jones and goalkeeper Daniel Mohan. Referee James Lewis says that ball has gone wide, and it's going to be another kick out for Roslea, as the scoreline now reads Roslea 1-11, 6 points to Enniskillen. Check of the watch, 6.5 minutes played in the second half.
I think Callum Jones better got a red card there today, no?
Well, Callum Jones was certainly claiming for a 45, but referee James Lewis, I suppose, we're not in a championship situation, so we'll have...
At the same time, fair play to Callum Jones. He'll go for any kind of ball that goes into him now. High or low, he's still going for it. And it's not a bad fault in a young lad like that.
That ball, that was kicked out between James Rehill and Niall, because we were all just watching James Lewis see where exactly was he going to blow, who was he going to give the free to. It's one of those ones, probably two players were pushing, shoving, holding, a bit of that going on, and it just who was holding at the critical time when the ball come close. It was John Rehill, give the free to Roslea. That was Shane Lynch, chips it up to Seamus Quigley. Referee James Lewis says that Seamus Quigley had pushed the full back, who was Josh Horn. If Quigley had got away there, you wouldn't need to be Keith. You would need to be a mind reader to know what he was looking for anyway.
Possession of the ball, and
that's been turned over. Enniskillen. That was Conor Watson moving forward. Two defenders back, got the ball now. It's John Connolly going forward with Micheál Flanagan. Plenty of space, but the ball hasn't gone to ground. He soccer styles to get a bit of space, picking it up here now. Goes down again, looking for Seamus Quigley on the 45 metre line. He has been challenged. Gives it to Conor Mulligan. Roslea only have one player inside. That's Shane Lynch. Gives it to Niall Beggan, and now Peter Lynch is moving forward as well. Didn't get the ball released. Referee James Lewis is going to give a free. I think Peter Lynch wanted that ball released first time because he was breaking forward. He had broke the gain line as well and was getting into a bit of space, Joan.
Yeah, this last minute or so I've opened the thing up a bit here now. There's plenty of ball going into Shimmy there now at the minute. Some of these times now.
Funny, I thought he was going to try the score here. Yeah. Maybe you can't get carried away and try everything at the same time, so he was able to recycle that.
Well, what he has in his head at the minute is that I'm going to put this over the bar, like, and nobody else is going to put it over.
You might as well have it, because you wouldn't want to be taking it if you weren't able to back yourself.
Well, here, this is a brave looking effort here too.
It is, because he is kicking against the breeze, gives it plenty of height. It seems to be floating in nicely, and it is over the bar, so it's another point for Seamus Quigley. 1-9 plays 1-9 plays 6 points, double scores again, and 6 points between the teams. Goalkeeper Cian Newman looking out here. That come in between John Rehill. It's going to go wide. Niall McMahon was able to shepherd that ball out, and it's going to be a sideline ball for Roslea. He's going to give it to Dara Clerkin, but Dara Clerkin, that was snuffed out well by Neil McDermott. Now Enniskillen with a chance to break. That's Kieran Smith to John Rehill. John Rehill, who has been on a lot of ball in this game and been behind a lot of good of what Enniskillen has done. John?
He's a good leader in the 40 there now, so he is, but I haven't seen John now for a couple of years, and he was promising youngster, so he was doing well at that age group, but he's leading the attack well enough here now.
In the absence of the county players who Enniskillen don't have, that's a ball looking to find Callum Jones again, who has got out in front of Niall Cassie. He wants this on the left foot. Roslea have two players back there, and they were able to cut out the angles to block that. That's going back to Ross Bogue, who as well has had who has been behind a lot of the good play for Enniskillen. Now that's Neil McDermott, a left-footed ball into their centre half, or their full forward, who's James O'Donnell, trying to find an angle for himself, spinning around in the right foot. That's going in. I'd say that's going to go over the bar, and that's a lovely score for James O'Donnell.
Very promising young footballer, that lad too.
Always handy to have your corner forward who stays in there, Joe. Once he gets the ball, is able to get that bit of room.
I saw James at underage now, and he was very promising looking, so there you go.
Enniskillen are starting to bring on a couple of changes here now. That's Jack Tierney coming off, and seems to be Kieran Smith as well. So freshening up their team as we go in. Just check of the watch. 10.5 minutes played in the second half. These are changes, no doubt, John, with the intention of turning this game, getting something out of it. Conor Mulligan catching that ball on his 65-metre line, going to deliver it first time to Seamus Quigley. It's going out to the space. Josh Horn, Quigley picks that ball up nicely. Horn went to ground, going back. I thought he was going to try it on the left foot, brings it back to the right, gives it plenty of height. That's probably going to bend back in too much, and that's gone wide.
We'll forgive him for that one.
Scoreline remains 1-9 to Roslea, 7 points to Enniskillen, and it's goalkeeper Cian Newman. Substitution on the Roslea team, and that's Donal Mohan, who's going to be coming on, and coming off is going to be, have yet to see a player. It's going to be Matthew McMahon who's coming off. So that's going to be a straight swap between Donal Mohan and Matthew McMahon on that far side of the field. Goalkeeper Cian Newman lining up this here. He's got his hands up. He's looking for movement. Going to come to this stand side in towards midfield, and that was Michael Duras made himself available. Gives it over here now to a supporter on the stand side of the field. To 3 or 4 players running around here. That's Callum Jones. Didn't take his mark, swung that ball quickly on the left foot, and that's gone wide. Wides are starting to mount up for Enniskillen, but in the first game of the year, I suppose we reference everything back to that there, and it would be far worse if they weren't creating these opportunities.
Well, it was due to a good catch in the middle of the field for the kick out there. Got them in the attacking mode.
Niall Cosgrove picking that ball up. There was about 3 players from Enniskillen around him. He just had enough room to get that and get away. And Roslea onto the move here now with John Connolly. Got Niall begging in support. Connolly getting away from Connell Quinn. He's Peter Lynch here breaking inside. Niall begging. That's your kind of diagonal running there, John. But that was well snuffed out. Begging, kicking that ball away. It's going to go to the far side of the field. Kept in play from Donal Mohan, and it is rolling up that sideline. Enniskillen plenty of time to pick it up, and away they come now with Neil Love, who gives it over here to, can't see the number. Some of these substitutions who's coming on here. That was full back Josh Horn, in fact, who had that there, given that kind of a hospital pass. Possibly going to be, it was Shane McMahon coming away with the ball here now, and it's Enniskillen. Again, it seems to be when one person shoulders and the second person shoulders. James Lewis is given that
they'll never not do a lot of harm in Gaelic football now.
It's that, and just speaking of it, there we go. That's the clash over there, and it's been picked up now. Ball spilled loose, been picked up by Ethan Berford, giving it over here, and here we go with Enniskillen on the attack again. That's Michael Durish giving it here now to number 12, who's Neil McDermott. He back to Michael Durish as well as Enniskillen look to break inside the Roslea 45-metre line. That's James O'Donnell is making a run, but Connell Quinn has it, looking to take that in the right foot, coming in from a distance, and a lovely score. there's plenty of room for the Enniskillen forwards to if they can exploit these gaps.
Roslea had it well clustered up the middle there now, and that is a good enough ball out there, a bit of space.
4 points between the teams as the clock ticks to 14 minutes played in the second half. It's now Roslea 1-9, Enniskillen 8 points. Goalkeeper Daniel Mohan. This is an important enough kick out because Roslea have been under the cosh. That's Niall Cosgrove tapping the ball back to Conor Mulligan, and Roslea again that's a high ball into.
No man's land.
It's turned over from Enniskillen, and now they're going forward here. Roslea had done the hard work to win the ball, to win the kick out, but they've lost it, and I think that's James O'Donnell trying that again, going in, I think it's going to go wide. Another wide for Enniskillen. The scoreline remains 1-9 to 8 points.
I think they may be given this here, is it? No, it's not rather. Kick out, just.
No, kick out. It's going to be it's a wide ball, and it's going to be a kick out from goalkeeper Daniel Mohan as Enniskillen start to bring on more substitutes. They're taking off Ethan Beresford, possibly. Yeah, I think it is Ethan Beresford that's coming off. So now referee James Lewis blows the whistle for the water break. 15 minutes and 16 seconds played. That's the third quarter. It's now Roslea 1-9, Enniskillen 4 points. Enniskillen have got closer to Roslea in this. In that third quarter, they're definitely well in this game. They've brought on their substitutes. They must have brought on maybe 5 substitutes at this stage. Who the fresh legs is going to be a help, especially on the first game of the year, when no doubt some of these players have to are bound to be getting tired at this stage because of the lack of competitive games. Whatever training you can do, whatever challenge games, it's no substitute for competitive games.
No.
I would think both managers are reasonably happy with some aspects of their play. I'm sure John Rehill from Enniskillen will want to tidy up those wides.
You want to tidy up the look. You don't add wides to the scoreboard, but if you count the wides onto that tally that they have already there, it still shows you that there's plenty of possession in the half forward line down there. You know,
plenty of possession. Some of them were what you'd call good wides. They were just shots that just tailed away towards the end, and they were accurate enough. Which sounds a bit.
If you're adding Seamus Quigley to that Enniskillen forward line, sure, goal line could be different.
It certainly would be a help for Roslea. I would think they will be happy enough with how they're in and around midfield.
They would.
Roslea have won a lot of ball.
Good understanding there between
Conor Mulligan and Niall Cosgrove. We've seen that there with Niall Cosgrove able to just tap the ball back to Conor Mulligan. So not only the ball that Roslea will have won cleanly, also the breaks and the turnovers, certainly maybe in the first half.
That's the experience again, Kieran. That's the experience for the Niall Cassius this world when he gets in possession, and so forth, looking around him and putting it where he wants to put it. You know,
it is experience, John, as well as that. To win dirty ball, you need to badly want it, and to be happy to put your body on the line and go to places where people wouldn't put a hammer, as they talk about. Anyway, we'll go into this final quarter with 4 points between the teams. 1-9 to Roslea, 8 points to Enniskillen, and it's Daniel Mohan. He has Niall Cosgrove. I was just watching Niall Cosgrove. Had found a bit of space on the end line, but he's going to go long to that far side of the field. Here's Conor Mulligan breaking for that. Now it's Enniskillen. We were talking about dirty ball. There's Enniskillen with 3 men to pick that up. Now it's Callum Jones flicks that ball nicely to Michael Dears, gives it back to Jones. He's going to want it on the left foot, trying from the difficult angle. That's going in, and that's a lovely score.
Good score.
That's a lovely score.
And he made it too. He made with off good possession, got it returned and stuck it over the bar.
Callum Jones and Michael Dearish, certainly. The passes, that's how you take players, or you take defenders out of the game and make space for yourself. And Callum Jones backed himself, even though, as we talked about Enniskillen, they have had a couple of wides, backed himself to take that from the tighter angle, got it over the bar. Now there's only a goal between the teams.
If you had the bit of an off the ball thing.
James Rehill has gone to ground, and referee James Lewis is coming across.
It's more of a tangle than anything else, I think.
I think the two players seem to get tangled up, and James Rehill's just wants.
If you had, if Enniskillen had Big Richard Callahan there at full forward, spraying those forwards with good possession. I'd say there'd be plenty of scores in there.
No doubt. Goalkeeper Daniel Mohan going long. That's Niall McMahon going for that. Was tapped out of his hands, and Enniskillen have turned that over. We were talking in the first half about Roslea were able to turn over 2 and 3 Enniskillen kickouts. Enniskillen are doing that to Roslea now.
Well, they're knocking it down. They're not really catching it. They're knocking it down and picking up the.
And here's James Smith on his 45-metre line, plenty of room around him, has a chance here, gives it back to James Rehill.
Taking his point here.
Yeah, he was questionable for steps, I would imagine there. So. Gives it away to, it's into the net, it is into the, no, questionable for steps for James Rehill, but he kept on going anyway. Fine, James O'Donnell took the shot, possibly it was saved, it ended up going into the net anyway, and it's a goal for Enniskillen, 1-9 to 1-9. We have a draw game here, and couple of players are down just with cramp. It's no doubt we would expect that there with the first games of the year.
I'd say it's the fact that Enniskillen got a lot of breaks in around the middle there now to put them back into.
It's the
here if they're neutral, which I am sure. This is the way you want it. Is that the way you want it, Kieran?
No doubt about it, John. 1-9 plays 1-9. We have got 15 minutes to go in the second half. Yeah. So everything that's come before, it doesn't matter. It's all about this last 15 minutes and who can win that there. Start off with winning this kick out. That was Seamus Quigley who picked that up, gives it to Micheál Flanagan.
Look at this.
Gives it, spraying that ball over to Donal Mohan. He is Peter Lynch. Donal Mohan breaks inside, gives it to Niall Beggan, and that pass was looking to find Seamus Quigley. Quigley gets the ball, gets away. Here's Micheál Flanagan getting inside the 65-metre line. Flanagan's herring away from Conall Quinn. Need to get a score out of this here. That's Conor Mulligan, give him an option. Niall Cosgrove's there as well. Cosgrove, Shane Lynch in there breaking inside. That's Cosgrove on the right foot kicking that in. Is that ball? It has gone wide. It's gone wide, and it's going to be a kick out for goalkeeper Cian Newman. Seamus Quigley come out to midfield to win that ball because Roslea had lost 2 kick-outs in a row. Needed to get it, and then the question for Roslea was, could they get a score without Seamus Quigley being in there?
Well, that's
engineered the scoring opportunity.
Yeah, didn't get it.
It just didn't come.
Yeah.
But
Shimmy, you know, plenty of it playing around the middle of the field too. So
well, it's going to be. That's Niall Casty breaking that ball down, and it is Shane McMahon who's going for that now. It's been picked up and it's over there to Ross Bogue, giving it to that's Callum Jones. So if Seamus Quigley come out of the Roslea full forward line, Callum Jones has come out of the Enniskillen one, maybe giving James Rehill a chance to get inside. He's gone to ground, picked it up again. Peter Lynch is with him. This is John Rehill. Now back to Callum Jones. I thought he was going to try that on the left foot. Niall Casty's with him, not going to try and give him any room. And it's over here now with one of their substitutes. A couple of their subs over there. Neil McDermott's over there as well. That ball was nearly intercepted by Dara Clerkin. Picked up inside, fist pass in here. It's Neil McDermott who's going to try that on the left foot going in, and it's gone wide. That was Enniskillen's opportunity to get in front. Enniskillen have done Trojan work at half time. It was 1-7 to 5 points. It's now 1-9 to 9.
Change it a wee bit.
Yeah, some of the we were just talking there, John, about some of the subs for Enniskillen have they emptied their bench, or they made a couple of changes in the third quarter, and now those players are getting to match fitness. They're starting to get their second wind.
Definitely a bit of a difference now. I see John Rahill's in full forward there now, but that's why Callum Jones is coming out round the half forward line.
John Rehill, no much as anyone else, probably needs a bit of a rest or two, and at centre half forward or full forward, he's going to create problems for the defence.
He's had a fine game so far now.
That's Roslea breaking out here with Donal Mohan. He is going to ground, gets the ball nicely up to Dara Clerkin, referee. James Lewis says it's going to be a free for Roslea, and Roslea are breaking out with Niall Beggan. Daniel Mohan's there for support as well. I think maybe the last 5 minutes or so, John, Roslea they're starting to come under pressure. The goal really would have rocked them, and they need to get a score here to get themselves back up. Niall McMahon hitting that ball in high. Seamus Quigley's going for it, catches that ball lovely, turning inside, going for the goal, puts it wide. You had to put your house on that, John, because he was breaking inside. Nearly had too much room to aim at. He went up nicely.
He put it along the ground too. The keeper's going to take a while to get down to it, but it just went on the wrong side of the post. But he fielded it well.
He fielded it well, yeah, that's right. And away we go again. So the score remains 1-9 to 1-9 with we're into our final quarter of the game, so about 10 minutes to go, John. We said this there hasn't been a score since we entered the fourth quarter, but it's about who can win these last 10 minutes. It's all down to this here. Enniskillen moving forward. There's 3 Roslea men around him. That's picked up now by Conor Mulligan. Goes to ground, gets his free. Referee James Lewis wants to talk to Neil McDermott. Possibly going to be a yellow card. Don't think Neil McDermott did anything particularly.
There hasn't been a bad foul in the whole game.
No, there hasn't been a bad foul. Maybe it's some of these fouls that catch up. But away we go again. It's Conor Mulligan with the ball. 1-9 apiece. In this game's coming to you live from Brewster Park in Enniskillen. That's Micheál Flanagan. He gets away from 2 challenges, does nicely, gets away from Callum Jones and James O'Donnell, finds Niall Cassidy. His break got away from the same 2 men. Enniskillen forwards are starting to come back, put that work in. It's you like to see your full forwards doing that work. That's Niall Cosgrove trying that ball in long. It's not going to get to Seamus Quigley. It's going to be intercepted and it's going to be moved forward from referee James Lewis way to the far side of the field. Enniskillen aren't hanging around. I think the work that they have put in, John, to get back at go back at half time, 1-7 to 5 points. Enniskillen have put in a lot of work in that third quarter to get level, and now you would say that they're probably in the ascendancy. Here's John Rehill. This is the chance. Loses his foot in 2 bounces. Referee James Lewis says plays away. That's Ross Bogue kicking that in. I think it's going to go wide, though. Indeed it's not. It's going to drop short. Daniel Mohan shipping a challenge from John Rehill, kicking the ball here now to Conor Mulligan. Picks it up. Seamus Quigley's in support. Micheál Flanagan's there too. Donald Mahone's on the far side of the field. John Connolly. Roslea are going to have to carry this up the field. That ball's gone too far from has gone too far. Seamus Quigley wasn't able to get it, and Enniskillen have it turned over. Josh Horn, away they go, heading to the far side of the field. The side Enniskillen, or the side Roslea come out, Enniskillen are heading to the opposite direction where no doubt there's more room.
I still wouldn't bet against Roslea yet now.
Could be a draw.
And a draw in game. Well, look at here.
That ball's going to go in over the head of John Reid. Daniel Mohan's going to probably let that go out over the
he should have taken that ball.
He possibly should have, because Roslea have maybe struggled to win the primary possession from their own kickouts. Substitute Martin Beggins coming on to the Roslea team, and coming off it's going to be Niall Beggin. So opportunity to give more players Roslea with 10 minutes to go. I suppose we talked about Enniskillen, John. They made their changes early, and their players now are at match fitness. Whereas Roslea, they've took on 3 substitutes in the last couple of minutes. It still might take those players another minute or two
to get the pace of the game.
Get to the pace of the game before they get their hands on the ball as well. That's Niall Cosgrove getting that ball. He was kind of been bottled up and been fouled, but the referee says play away. Micheál Flanagan gives it to Martin Beggin and Donald Mohan. Niall Cassidy in there as well. Enniskillen are sort of retreating.
They can retreat, but if they let Roslea play the ball up to 45 and gets it into Shamrocks now, there's danger.
That's Conor Mulligan moving forward, giving it to Peter Lynch. He gives it to Niall Cosgrove. Niall Cassidy's in a lot of room on that far side of the field. It's on this stand side with Shane McAleer giving it to Niall Cosgrove. He looks to deliver it in. It's going to end up on the edge of the square. Quigley's in there going high. Josh Horn done well to break that ball down, and away Enniskillen are looking to move out with their substitutes, giving the good ball here now to Connor Watson. Now it's Callum Jones. This is the chance for Enniskillen to get in front. That's John Rehill with a spraying ball over that far side of the field. Connor Sherlock made a sort of a last ditch tackle, and you know something, if he didn't make that tackle, I would think that James O'Donnell was going to be around him, and there wasn't much traffic between them and between that and the goal line.
I suppose there's a man in front of Shamey then, a man behind him, and that ball that was sent in by Niall Cosgrove, it wasn't easy to win, but I think he should have been in front there at the same time, you know. But if there's 2 men on you and a dropping ball like that there now, it's not easy getting it.
It's kind of hard to make your jump.
Oh, it is, of course.
Because you're blocked 2-8. But Enniskillen have got a free here. It's in the it's going to be Conal Quinn lining this up on the right foot. It's on the 21 metre line. The angle's tight, but it is suitable for a right-footed kicker. There is certainly not what you'd call a difficult one. Taking it from the ground, and this is the chance for Enniskillen to get in front of this in this second half. I think that comes off the post, and it's gone wide. So we haven't had a score, John, from the third quarter from that there. It's been 10 minutes where both teams have had opportunities, have had possession, but they haven't been able to execute.
It's much better than a runaway game, anyway.
So pressure on every kick out here, and Daniel Mohan, you can see he's looking for options, looking for the best place to go. He's going long. That's Dara Clerkin trying to get that there, but Enniskillen 3 men inside, kicking that ball forward. Callum Jones gone wide again. Enniskillen are just getting into a pattern. Too many wides, John.
Too many wides. I don't know what he's trying to thread a pass through there on his left foot. It wasn't even a good pass, like. But
it was still going to leave John Rehill on his wrong side. He was still going to be heading away. It was going to be a very, very tight angle.
But Callum's keen to get the ball there now and trying to do the thing.
Yeah. Daniel Mohan's going out. It's going to be Conor Mulligan who catches that ball well in the field. He's going to give it to. That ball's gone in very high. It's going to be a drop ball. Shane Lynch is fighting for it. Gets the ball. He's ripped the ball out of the hands of Neil Love, and now Shane Lynch has it, and Roslea will really want to get an attack from this here. Lynch still has it. Now it's Donal Mohan breaking inside the 45 metre line, gives it back to Shane McAleer, who goes semi-quickly. Turns the challenge around of Callum Jones. Is he going to try that from 45 metres out? That was number 10, who's Conal Quinn, putting pressure on him. Now it's Martin Beggan. Pass didn't go to hand. I think Roslea were a bit predictable there. It was obvious what they were looking to do was to get it to Shamey.
Shamey was staying too far behind the ball at that stage after the ball was one up there. He should have been pushing forward with it or looking for it.
And away we go again. James O'Donnell against this could be very costly because there's 2v1 on the inside. Now it's Ryan Ross Bogue. He has the option, gives it back, and that ball has gone in from Conal Quinn. Wide again. Wait.
Would they still battle Roslea?
Well, I think it's at this stage. I'd say it would be a draw game. Would be the most would be the most likely outcome. Roslea don't seem as if they're going to get a score unless Shamey is involved in it.
But at the same time, one ball's all one decent ball in front of him is all he wants.
Here we go. Donal Mohan on the far side of the field gives it back to Martin Beggan, and now it's into Niall McMahon and Peter Lynch. Roslea are starting to break out, giving it to Daniel Mohan.
So nobody getting loose for him now, look at.
But there's plenty of room. Niall Cosgrove has found himself in a bit of room, getting inside the 45 metre line. Gives it to Seamus quickly, going to be on the right foot. That Josh Horan was probably got him around. That's going to be a free in. I think Josh Horan in that instance, the first thing, he was probably a bit too far from Shamey. He could have been a bit tighter. And then as Shamey turned around, Josh Horan left his hand in. It's very hard when you give a referee an option to give a free. It's very rare that they don't give it. When you leave your hand in and pull back in that instance.
Niall Cosgrove done nothing stupid with the ball at all. He waited till he got Shamey on the move, and
that's from that free. It's gone over the bar, and it's now Roslea 110-19 for Enniskillen, and it's going to be goalkeeper Cian Newman, who is injury. I think referee James Lewis is allowing on. First of all, he's allowing on the substitution of John Quigley, and secondly, he's allowing support, or he's allowing medical aid to come to Conor Sherlock, who's down. So this is probably an instance where Roslea have got their noses in front. It'll be in their interest now to kill any momentum, to slow things down if they can. We're with 5 minutes to go in this here. We're just looking around at some of the other scores. So in the division, in the senior club competition, Division 1A, round 1, Canolly 2 points, Ederney 1 point in the second half. So that's the score in that game. Regarding Adramsey, the game is 7 points to Timor, 5 points to Adramsey. So maybe we'll have a opportunity to go around as many of the scores as we can. That's a high ball, which Josh Horan does well to field in front of Seamus Quigley, and now that gives Enniskillen an opportunity to move forward, breaking away on that far side of the field. And that ball's going into John Rehill. He finds that ball well, takes his mark.
Sensible enough,
very sensible to take that mark, because it's going to be on the 21 metre line, suiting out for the kicker. At the same time, there was possibly a goal. Only John Rehill kind of lost his foot, and if he had got that ball and got turning around, he'd have been taking that over the bar, or he'd been looking for the net. But he kicks that ball over the bar. Now it's 110-110, and we talked about it was whoever wins the last quarter, then it was whoever wins the last 10 minutes. There's about 3 minutes to go in this game, when it's down to that there. It is down to one challenge, one attack, and being able to execute it. Danny Mohan going long, Shamey breaks it down, picked up well by Enniskillen. That man, that's the substitute who come on. That's Conal Quinn, who did that there. Referee James Lewis adjudged that he was laying on the ball. It was hard for him to get to his feet
I think
at the same
I
time.
think I'd have been thrown it up there now for fairness.
And now away we go with Niall McMahon on the ball, breaking inside the 65-metre line. He has Conor Mulligan in support. Looking at Enniskillen of players back, so Roslea are going to have to work this ball forward. Now it's Donal Mohan giving it to Niall Cosgrove, with Micheál Flanagan in midfield, giving it over to Niall Casty, getting inside the 65-metre line. Casty has space. Is he probably going to go for the shot here? He is going to go for it. That's heading in, going to drop short. Goalkeeper Cian Newman. That ball's dropped short. It's a chance here. The player's gone down. It's gone down to the ground. And referee James Lewis has blown for a free out for Enniskillen.
Missed opportunity there.
Definitely was an opportunity for a goal if they had been able to consider.
I'd have been happy enough on a possession there to fist it over the bar, so it would.
And away we go with Enniskillen. This could be a chance for a smash and grab, take all the points. It's probably not fair to say smash and grab because this has been a close game, but that's into James O'Donnell. He's done well in this second half, trying that, swinging it off the right foot, heading in, gone wide. It seems to be destined for a draw game, John. And I'm sure both teams will be happy enough for their opening outing, but Seamus Quigley,
hanging into him there now,
he was hanging, but Quigley wasn't able to get the ball himself. Now it's Shane McAleer gets a hand in there, doing well, and get in again. Enniskillen picking that ball up. That's one of their substitutes going to ground. Referee James Lewis says play away, gives it as a free to Roslea. Niall Cosgrove with that, looking for support. He gives it to Micheál Flanagan. Roslea have a long way to go though to get a score at the same time when Enniskillen have time to set back into their defence. Flanagan moving forward. Shane Lynch is making a run inside the 21 metre line, looking for Shamey. That's going to drop short again, so if goalkeeper Cian Newman can keep his hands on that there, and away we go again. 110 plays 110. Enniskillen with Connell Quinn breaking out here, got a bit of space at midfield, gotten inside the 45 metre line. That's a high ball. John Rehill had found himself in space there, but Niall Casty catches that ball well, breaks out. Referee James Lewis says enough's enough. 110 apiece is the final score here, John.
I don't think any teams could have any complaints there now, because it was a grand match.
They'll no doubt they'll have regrets, because they did have opportunities. Both teams, Enniskillen will look to the amount of wides that they kicked. Roslea had their opportunities. Seamus Quigley had a goal chance. He caught that ball on the 40 metre line, turned around, had only the goalkeeper to beat. So both teams, as you say, will have regrets, but good performance, good sporting game, enjoyable as well, John.
Plenty of mistakes and everything else. Like it was a grand game. 110, 2 bad scoreline any day of the week, you know.
I'm sure both teams will have plenty of things to look at for training on Tuesday night.
I'd say Roslea now, with the 4 or 5 experienced men they have there down through the years, well, they have a good basis there of the year again, you know. And then the actually young Flanagan coming in there. Equally so, Callum Jones on the outside. I'd like to see these young lads coming through, because I know all the older ones for down through the years, but it's good to see those lads coming in and playing well.
And with that, the